What's up, everybody?
What's happening?
We've got our usual content, no-gi footage from this past Monday. What's up, James?
Hello, James. I love how we've just omitted Gi.
Yeah. What's going on, Jordan? Yeah, we'll you know what, man, let's commit to some gi this Sunday. I think we got enough in the bank to last us for a bit if we ran out. So we'll do some gi on Sunday finally. What's going on, Andrew?
I mean, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, a few of our students may be, but I'm not. All right, let's see. Daniel and Pat starting the show. And then we got Ronnie and Duncan as well. Daniel with the old, hey, look over there.
Yeah. Duncan did a good job dragging Veronica down to the mat, with the front headlock. Sprawling his legs back, not allowing her to really shoot in if she wanted to.
That was a part of what you went over that day, right?
It is, yeah. Yeah, always good to see someone implementing lessons in live training.
Daniel going for that shallow underhook, over tie. I don't know what him and Pat are doing. And Pat really trying to put to work that Sasai Surikomi, I think. That little like lat pull or collar tie pull sweep.
Okay.
I think that's what that is. Is that you and Josh? Yeah.
Yep.
How did Duncan get to the back? Did you see that?
I didn't.
Oh, he'd been there a minute. Okay. From that
Yeah.
front headlock, he got his hooks in. It was good to get back on the mat that night.
Yeah.
After all the vacation. Daniel with the shot that Pat seems to be. Oh, okay. Pat just about had him fended off there. They about fell into Brandon.
It's hard to chase Daniel off a shot. Once he grabs the leg, he normally gets it pretty tight.
Yeah, and like what I like what Pat, I think this is what Pat was doing with me before I speak. So yeah, like right here, like that heavy pressure on the head and getting the hips back because Daniel's grip is open right now. It's kind of the last ditch effort there. Daniel shifts down from the knee to the ankle. You see his hand slip right down to there. So now it's going to be a lot easier to finish that. He would have had to keep barreling forward, I think, if he stayed at the knees. But with that ankle pick, it's going to be easier to take Pat down. But yeah, when you find yourself there bugging the head and trying to turn your hips away, and then just shoving the head down to the mat as you try to like slip that foot out, if they haven't managed to like lock their grip around you or get a really deep like false grip around your knees or your waist for that matter, can often be a last ditch way to get out of there.
What's up, Steven? What's up, Justin? And Steven, how you feeling?
What's up, dudes? All right, so Josh, I don't know how much Josh has had to deal with knee on belly. He's like half right here. Like the hand to the knee is dangerous, and we could see exactly why. As soon as like I put somebody in knee on belly, I want them to put their hand on my knee exactly for what you just did there. You just fish the underhook right in. Right? This makes it a lot easier to transition to a very dangerous mount. Dorsal Kimura, getting back exposure from there. All sorts of opportunities come from that underhook. To his credit, though, that other arm, you could see right there, he's pushing the ankle down to try to get it between your legs where he can ankle trap and then work an escape from there. With that underhook, might not work quite as well at this point. But Josh, if you're watching this, pay attention to that next time. Focus on trapping the ankle instead of pushing directly on the knee, and see how that fares for you. Once you do trap that ankle, I would want you to turn towards Mike to get that knee in front of you rather than over you. But that should help with Neon Belly. It's a really
actually go Andrew later on that night. The exact same concept.
Cool.
So Andrew, you've heard it twice now from us.
Glad you're getting better, Steven.
That is good.
I mean it. What did Pat? Oh, I think Daniel just got a wrist lock. Yeah, and an effective one too. So, wrist lock's the constant joke of jiu-jitsu. But here he's kind of sort of wedged Pat's elbow into place. Like, Pat doesn't have much leeway to move his elbow at this point. That's when wrist locks become effective. Not in the, you know, the ways you see guys, you know, what's his name, Steven Seagal, like back in his movies, or like Aikido stuff where they grab the hand and twist and whatever. Wrist locks are great if you can control the elbow, and that's what Daniel's doing here. Another common spot you'll see that is like that rear triangle position. What happened with Josh here? Oh, okay, so from that, let's see what you did from that underhook. Underhook to crossface. Yep. And you even lost the underhook. I had to dig it back.
Yeah, I normally, so obviously I want to keep the underhook as long as I can, but really the reason why I'm trying to get his elbow up super high is because I don't want to try and take him out with my knee being very, very low on his body. When you get your opponent's arm above their head, it's harder for them to start capturing and feeding your leg in between their legs when you transition from a side control into a mount. So that's honestly my main focus, is getting into the mount, and then hopefully I can maintain this arm height, if you will. But as soon as I came up, he slipped his elbow, and I was like, well, I guess I got to go and do that over again.
Yeah, but look how high your knee came up in that transition. Like,
Yeah.
you're not sitting over the hips. You're in, well, like Luke probably, I think Luke refers to this as more of like a mid-level mount. You're not in a high mount, but you're not over the hips.
Right.
So that gave you all the real estate you needed to hook that elbow again. And now it's just a fight of if Josh can keep his elbow to the ground or not, which you were able to beat.
It's hard when that. You got a lot of leverage if you start working out on the elbow, right? It's tough to beat that spider walk that we talk about.
Mm-hmm. And Pat working a similar concept here. He actually is using double unders as he tries to transition up, which is I like working from double unders in top position if my ankle's trapped. Like this top half guard that Pat's caught in. Yeah, Daniel's gonna be a hard one to put down from there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends on who I'm training with and if they are really strong. Daniel is one that I won't do this with, and Cole is another one that I will not do that with.
Yeah, Daniel and I were having a discussion a few weeks back about like the dangers of having your body parallel with the bottom, with your opponent who's on bottom, and like hiking your hips up high, because I'm sure you guys know how much I rely on like wide elbows, my forehead on the mat, and then tripoding up to like get my trapped ankle free. And I did that with Daniel, and he managed to take me over. So we were talking about like when that works, when it definitely doesn't work, and why it may or it may not. And like, you know, with Daniel, if he's gonna bridge, and he managed to turn one of Pat's underhooks here against him. Let me see if I catch that. Yeah, like so Daniel has his right elbow below his shoulder line right now, which means it's in a bit more of a powerful, useful position. If it was up higher, this may not have worked as well, or may not have worked as effectively as we see it here. But yeah, just some thoughts on double underhooks from top position. Still a great thing to use if you can keep the elbows above the shoulder line. Looks like we got James. I think that's James with Brandon. James, I thought you were going to roll for a Kimura there. I don't know how confident you feel doing that on your neck, but definitely an option the way you were way over top of Brandon. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Like right here.
Yep. That'd be a very, as he pops his head out of the guillotine, if he does, then you have the Kimura right there. Diving over with your left shoulder going down to the mat.
I think he'd have to switch his hands, but either way. How is it still feeling good? It hasn't been it didn't flare up after training, did it?
Big kid.
And then gets the scissor strangle, the leg scissor. Also, shout out to Swanky Bigfoot and Buell's BJJ. Obviously, Kurt. Thanks for the follow, guys.
Thank you.
Kurt, if you're watching, I hope you're feeling good.
Yep.
Post surgery.
February.
So I'm rolling with Ted, who was an intro student today. He said he had some, like 3 or 4 years of training, but many years ago. His words, not mine. So just getting a feel for how he was rolling. You got Tim here?
Yep. That was the first time I trained with Tim.
I think Tim has a lot of potential.
I agree.
Oh, James. That was almost very good. watched wait, is that is that James and Josh? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So similar kind of foot sweep attempt there. To what we saw Pat working earlier from the collar tie. That was the right idea. I like it. Josh shooting in, but leaving his head exposed. Tim thinking about the ankle pick.
Yeah, so can you go back a few seconds to show, like, when I taught on Monday, and can you go back to where I was in half guard? Here. So you'll see that I start to get attached to Tim's left arm here, and I'm starting to take a 2-on-1 grip, and it looks eerily similar to an arm drag, because it is an arm drag, right? So when I talk about, like, being able to see, you know, it doesn't necessarily what guard you're in or whatever, whether it's from guard or an open guard or standing or whatever it is, you know, like, I could still hit an arm drag from all of those positions. And so, you know, I'm using that to my advantage here. I'm using his momentum, trying to disengage. I'm using it to pull up, and I come around and I have a look at the back here. I did not finish the back take, but, you know, point is that it's the same position regardless of whether you're seated in a guard or standing. Same technique.
I think that about answers Veronica's smart ass question in the chat.
Eh.
And one thing that's interesting about this is normally when you do an arm drag, you're clearing the arm across your center line and exposing their back. Here, Tim posts on your hip, and at first glance, you would think you haven't cleared that center line. So, you know, it would be a failed arm drag maybe. But you end up moving your hips around his arm here instead. Like you pivot around the arm to get the back exposure, and you know, thereby removing Tim's post on you. So you do end up getting that back exposure. He hooks that leg there, which I don't know if he's learned that lesson yet. Not a terribly great idea if someone is going all the way around to the back, because that's just an easy arm trap you're giving them. Josh is sitting up here on a leg. I don't think Josh has done much with like that seated versus standing, like shin to shin position yet. Josh, I know some of the stuff we went over back during open guard week. I think you were thinking about working it there, but that's done from, I don't know. There's a distance thing you have to think about here. Nice single leg. Just to finish my thought. Like, you were super close here to a spot where some of that that open guard footwork stuff we were going over, like the double inside trip, or double inside ankle trip, the Kouchi, passing the foot by, all that stuff out the window now, right? With how close you've gotten. So this is another spot from open guard that's probably a bit of a blind spot for you, just because we haven't gone over it yet. But I like what you end up doing a few seconds later with this wrestling up against James here. So James goes for the inside position, and then you scoop the foot and stand up, and you got up real quick too. I mean, another fine example of the utility of a technical stand up. Planted opposite foot to opposite hand, pull that foot back behind you. James keeps his knee out, and then counters. Good, I didn't see that happening earlier. Whatever, either way, right idea. Just got to clean up those little details about, getting your head caught in a guillotine. Did he just try a Russian wrist snap? Oh, no, okay. I don't know, maybe. It happens to all of us.
Oh, yeah.
So Ted got me here working from that front headlock position and putting a lot of forward pressure on me. What happens at Andrew and Pat? Let's see. I don't know what happened there with Andrew and Pat. If it was might just be smother or mounted Ezekiel, no-gi Ezekiel. Yeah,
that's what it looks like, at least from here.
Yeah. Josh not letting another guillotine happen. It looks like you and Tim are going over some finer points of side control pressure.
Yeah, he wanted to work on some of his top pressure. So
good stuff.
We were talking about how to mount and stuff.
So let's see. Ted's working we restarted from kind of this 3/4 mount where I've got his ankle trapped. Quick elbow escape to get the knee back. Working back to an open guard. Forward shift to get myself seated. And now he's really committed that arm to the crossface right here. That is just an opportunity for me to set up a shoulder crunch. So I've got the head in on the shoulder crunch. I switch to the head outside. And with my butterfly hooks in, I'm right where I want to be from here. Pretty comfortable spot for me. So get the elevation, and then just do a little Americana.
It's funny you hit that shoulder crunch sweep the exact same time that I hit this, like a flower. I guess it would be a flower sweep on Tim.
And I think I hit the shoulder crunch on you earlier, totally forgetting that your shoulder's bothering you. Like when we were drilling, did it? I felt so bad later when I realized after you were talking about your shoulder at class. I hope that wasn't. I hope that wasn't.
On fire during this training session. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, I didn't mess it up during drilling, did I?
I mean, it was screwed after. I think Danny wound up darsing me, and it was like it was over from there. That was like the first round.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah, we'll blame Danny. And yeah, you had like it was like part scissor sweep, part butterfly, kind of looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, just held his elbow down, trapped his elbow, and then just elevate him a little bit, cut the knee out from underneath, and came up on top.
James doing some pretty fundamental standing versus seated work here. Taking a page out of Luke's book here, bugging the head, pushing him over, trying to get that leg inside to work a pass, I assume. Good sticky hooks from Josh, though. Not just giving up that inside position. Forcing half guard. It's a great spot to pass from. Looking for the body lock. Josh, I'm glad you're not grabbing James's head. That's like one of the first rookie mistakes to break, so that's good. Looks like you're focusing a lot on the hips, preventing the hips from coming around as well. Kurt's boys chomping at the bit to train.
James, that was really nice. I mean, so this goes to the power of this underhook that we talk about, right? We emphasize it every time we're talking about half guard. But you do have the underhook now. Now you're using your head as the underhook, right, on the far side on Josh's left arm here. And then what you do is you switch your hips to where your left hip is almost down on the ground. I would like to see, James, in the future, I'd like to see you fully commit to your left hip here. And I think you would find it a lot easier to clear your knee if you actually just sit your left hip down on the ground. Your knee will pop straight up and it's easier to clear. And then that way you can, drive it across and do a shin pin on that far thigh. Or you can, switch and hit a knee cut pass, whichever. I don't care which one you choose. But here you're giving a dilemma, right? Because now you're able to keep that underhook using your head pressure here, and now you're starting to splay the legs open of Josh. And now Josh has to decide, if I allow my legs to get splayed open, he's going to, pass my guard. He can try and quickly get in a butterfly hook and like launch you, or he can do what he's about to do, which is plant and start to try and buck you off. And you take this as the opportunity to backstep and then drive him back over into the side control. So you were aware that your leg was free, you got out, and now you're in a passing position. You've passed the guard.
Good leg pummeling there from Pat. So Pat's working he gets a sweep here.
It was like a deep half guard type sweep on the far leg.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it wasn't X guard. He had that was, yeah, much more akin to a half guard.
That was really nice. I like that windshield wiper leg pummeling motion.
Really simple move that doesn't always pop into your head, but it can be very effective. You're just passing off limbs between your legs. Did you see who Cole's working with over there?
I didn't see.
I think Brandon. I think that's who that is.
Okay.
Oh wait, what happened with Pat and Andrew? Okay, just called it.
Moved out of the way, I think.
And round. So, working with one of Kurt's boys. Just more flashy for the stream. What do you want? You want sequins? What's flashy? We're all wearing our bunch of us are wearing our gear. Let's give a
which you can get at Alva with Alva Fitness.
Alva Fitness. ALVA. I don't remember if this was Eric or Kale that was rolling with me. I think it was Eric. Andrew bringing the fire.
Yeah.
Ooh, believe in his arm behind. And then this, so I think this has come up in conversation a bit. This straight arm that you do, you guys got to keep in mind, this is, especially for beginners, a real precarious position to find yourself in. Just like with the straight ankle lock, your instinct tends to be, let me rip my limb out of this and I'll get safe. When really all you do is you pull your elbow to a dangerous position and kind of sink in the submission here. A good idea here is go ahead, just take a false grip on Mike's neck, start to bring your head over his, drive into him, get your arm deeper into that, and then look to bend at your elbow and pummel your arm over his face. That will get you safe. It will compromise your base. You're not out of the woods yet, but you're escaping a submission. So things are going to happen that, you know, you're going to make some trade-offs here. I like that he just dove with it and let you take mount. He's like, leave me alone. Get off my arm. Whereas
that's a tough one to do lightly. You can really send those home.
Yes.
If you're not careful.
Yeah. Meanwhile, look at I'm guessing it's Eric, but we'll go with it for now. I get out of his armbar. Right, I don't allow him a cross-facing leg. So he decides to switch to that triangle that you were showing during class. And even I kind of walk myself to a good angle for him to work with. And then he switches out of it to a 3/4 Juji as well. You see that?
I did. Yeah, that was a very nice spot for him. That's what I was telling Kurt, is the awareness of these kids it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think the last stream that we did, we had the other set of twins on here.
Yeah. Yeah, the Walkers.
Yeah, right.
And then Kale stepping up and going with Daniel.
Yep.
All right. I'm curious if you're... I thought maybe you talked to Andrew there. Andrew, I bet you're kicking yourself right now just watching this, but so you're doing great here. You're pressuring on the hips. You know, there are things to add to this escape. You know, Mike's giving you heavy shoulder pressure across the face, which is going to complicate things away from just that standard hip you know, posting on the hip and shrimping your butt out. You're gonna have to do some different stuff here. But one of those different stuffs is never extending your arms like that. Or here it is, right there.
There.
Yeah. Now, in a freeze frame, you look at this and you think, oh, well, if I could move myself out, you know, like you've created all this space. There, you know, yeah, if you exploded out of this move and like threw Mike off of you and you were moving, you might get away with it. I just don't want that to become a habit, especially now that Mike settles back in and your elbows are still away from the body, aka they're isolated and open to attack. So just something to keep in mind. Mike settles back into this like mounted butterfly, and is just addressing your arms now. So you were in a dangerous spot there. You put yourself in a bad spot extending the arms away. So we can start building on your mount escape vocabulary for dealing with someone when they're giving you heavy shoulder pressure. And then, as always, keep working on your elbow escape. That's
It'll get you out of a lot of sticky situations.
Yeah. And when you know, just like any other offensive move, when you do one escape that doesn't work, you can quickly switch to another escape that can get you a little further, and then you switch to another one or back to the first one you tried, and that gets you further still. So it works the same way as attacking does.
Yeah, so I think Andrew stops here shortly because he was worried about where he was placing his arms. No, maybe it's a little bit further along. I don't think I was able to finish this.
Meanwhile, Pat and Brandon are in a little shootout here on the legs.
Oh yeah. Oop,
I think Pat gets it. Just quickly look at that. So they're in 50-50 here. Did they start there?
I think so.
Oh, okay. I got you. Cool. Good to see you guys working some positional drilling. So Pat successfully breaks the legs open and then can start to isolate. He takes it out of 50-50 though, puts it into like an outside ashi, more of a, you know, a straight ashi, if you will. Looking for the outside heel hook. And then turns the corner and gets a knee bar. Okay, cool. Like that side guard, and Andrew's doing his best to get his knee in, but you broke the connection from the arm to the knee.
Yeah, he was worried about his arm on my hip when I was in the neon belly. I was telling him, I was like, you know, if I was able to pop his arm up and off, then he would be in some trouble. But you know, we went into essentially what you went into at the very beginning, which is trying to capture the ankle is the best movement. I'm a strong believer that trying to get out of neon belly is trying to pass the knee side ankle in between the legs. That's what I'm explaining to him here.
Yeah. Look at Eric starts working a heel hook. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, an inside heel hook. As soon as I put my toes in, like, up into his armpit, and he got the wrist in position, I was like, oh, that's he Even a kid can put some torque on there, and you'll feel it in your knee if you hold on too long. You let it build.
It'd be a fun one to explain to everybody.
Oh my God!
Broke your leg.
Tore my MCL. 10-year-old decided to twist my knee. Or 8-year-old maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think they're 10 yet. All right, 10, whatever. Thank you, Ronnie. Not too young for me to try to triangle, though. And fail. So now, Eric has me in an arm bar, but he's got 2 body side legs. So I pass over to the other side of me to work my escape. Damn straight. I agree with that fully. Just watch Pat and I kick at each other's legs for a bit. We got Josh and Cole. Cole not relenting with his inside position defense with his legs and taking advantage of it too. So here he's using that sticky left hook, never lets Josh get an inside leg. And as Josh starts to get a little too heavy over Cole, a little overextended, we can see Cole use that to his advantage. He's got his head underneath Josh's left arm, going to make it difficult for him to base out. So he extends up and powers off of this bottom leg to get this sweep. And he lands into a similar spot that James was in earlier, using his head as the underhook, but he doesn't have his leg trap like James did. I'm sure Cole knows here what he's got with that arm being extended, so I think he's waiting for the right time. Oh, okay, Josh gets it back. I was gonna say he's probably gonna try to keep that underhook, trade his head position for just a standard underhook, but Josh beat him on that. Let's get Brandon and Brandon. I'm gonna say
Go behind.
arm drag, standard operating procedure. Ooh, not even.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, it looks like
It's
shorter.
Opposite. Yeah, he kind of just same,
Shorter
wrist
Brandon
across.
was caught. He was caught thinking there.
Yeah.
Ooh, you're getting called out.
Yeah.
Big step over to mount from Cole, but it doesn't settle in. Josh takes the top position. Josh, for you, it seems like so Cole switched things up here from what I thought he was going to do. But it seems like when you get to top position, you get a little forward with your weight here. Like right now, you're meeting Cole chest to chest, but you haven't gotten around a leg. You haven't gotten yourself in the half guard. There's nothing wrong with that that intention of like trying to use some like chest to chest pressure and get those pins, but you got to get at least to half guard here. I don't want you doing it against an open guard. Cole, as you've seen by now, is just going to use those butterfly hooks to his advantage. So if you want to pressure forward like that, I want to see you working a half guard first. Just like we talk about the prerequisites for passing from half guard with like the underhook. You know, we, at least for now, as a white belt, we're going to tell you don't try to pass from half guard unless you win that underhook battle. You know, if you're playing top position. Same kind of thing goes for this. Don't go for that chest to chest pressure if you haven't gotten yourself into half guard yet. Otherwise, you're just loading up your body weight directly over him, and he gets to decide at that point where you're gonna go. But here he switches up. You know, earlier we saw him take you with sweeping you with the butterfly hook. Here he goes to play close guard instead, possibly looking to work some leg entrances. Pop his legs open, back to open guard. Cole getting fancy. You know, we see the last few weeks we've seen Cole and Joe working these like body lock, like upper body, you know, like well above the waist, up by the shoulder line. These holes. It just occurred to me, like I think we were skeptical of them at first when we were talking about it, but it just occurred to me that like some of these, I feel like this gripping style, and I'm kind of talking out of school here, but this gripping style is similar to like Greco-Roman connections up top that you'd see. Obviously not necessarily like this. I don't know. It's weird because it's in this position on the ground. Yeah. But you know, maybe there's something to that. You know, me being my stature and never using anything like that from standing, or probably rarely using it from a ground position. Maybe there's something worth looking into there. So, oh, you got armbarred.
Yep. Dude, their arm bars are tight.
And they are, they love stepping over for them.
Yeah.
They don't mind being a little elevated when they go to get it. Oh yeah, I'm on Pat's back and I burned my arms out for the next, I don't know. Felt like it was the whole round. He's all busy now. He can't even stand up after that helicopter. It's too bad you can't make a GIF, like a thumbnail on YouTube. I would absolutely clip you doing this to a kid. And then Joshua, just recognize here what you've given up, and what's happening. So let's see how you got here. Actually, looks like Cole tried to hit that, or a similar sweep to what he did before. You disengage your leg, you're in top half guard, but you don't have the underhook, right? So this is, we could see a good example of what happens here. So come over to this position without having the underhook, so a little different than fighting from the front. But now with your arm committed around Cole's neck, you don't have a base on that side. He gets behind your shoulder and he can kind of keep it there, and knowing that, he takes you over in that direction and manages to get to, I assume, get to mount. There we go. I told Pat after, like, Pat totally was winning the hand fight here. I was like, I would have had to start doing like mean stuff to get the neck exposure, like the wrist under the nose that like Gordon likes to use. Yeah, the heavy cross facing, all that. I'm like, I don't want to do that in open mat. So he absolutely won that fight, the hand fight. And then there's just a little foot sweep to get Andrew on the ground. And then I ankle pick Cole. Andrew's another guy like Jason, who's it's very difficult to get his arms away from his body when they don't want to go away from his body. Cole gonna get beat up now. Oh, we gotta look for Mitchell going into like cross Ashi or something on Pat. I think Pat said he did it to him.
Oh, sick.
Wait, how did Cole get there? Alright, split the legs. Or split the elbow to knee. Went for the near side arm. I don't know if I've seen James and Brandon have a match in a while.
Oh yeah, I think I watched this earlier today. It was good.
See if James succumbs to the unstoppable arm drags. So you guys don't have to accept these collar ties. Right, I'm seeing Brandon letting James work here a little too much. There you go.
There you go.
You could always duck out from underneath them, turn him into a Russian tie, use an over tie, hit a duck under.
There it is.
Yep. James stays in front.
It's really tough to get around to James's back.
Yeah. Brandon looking for that low single that Luke likes to hit. I don't know if I'd give Brandon 2 points on that. James got up a little too fast. What happened with Andrew here? So I ended up getting a mount. And then I think a triangle? So just trying to work from the same stuff we did at class. That was a really effective snap from Andrew here. Looking at it in 1 1/4 speed is how it felt at regular speed. Like he just caught me thinking for a second. I put my knee down. I was gonna stand back up. And he just said, "Nah, I'm just gonna throw your face into the mat."
Yeah.
And gets around to the back and starts to go to work. Oh, James with the arm drag and the trip. Nice. I like the follow through as you got behind him too, like to keep him moving. You didn't just like right here. You
ran into him, yeah.
Yeah, you rush him a bit, and that gets him moving, which is going to make your the takedown finish easier on you. It's much easier to finish that when they're moving than when they're standing still. James has been watching Brandon arm drag everybody and was like, oh, I'm gonna get him now.
Yeah, right. So Andrew, what Matt had, like one of the reasons why Matt won that reversal, right? That wrestle up, is the entire time look where your arm is relative to his arm. So I know, like right here, you're almost trying to go for the underhook, but I don't know that you're prioritizing it as much as
You're talking about
might
here?
think. Yes, yeah. Um, and look, I mean, Matt is very vigilant with his underhook here, and this is ultimately, among other things, but is kind of what wins this this scramble, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's not a scramble; it was controlled.
Yeah, and I think I was trying that technique that I showed you that Bertram was showing us last week, where I kind of pulled him over me. I was trying to pull him over me. I start to use that bicycle action on my legs to extend his trapped leg. But I couldn't get the escape to the back. So when he rolled over, when he like, after he didn't want me to hit this like roll through sweep, and he compensates, roll back, and I just kind of keep going with him, and then pop my hips up, and my hips win the height battle there. I don't win height battles too frequently, but that was one of them. I bet, James.
Yeah,
Now
tell me about it.
almost looked like you were trying to get into the X guard there, work some of that. After class yesterday with Bertram Gordon. I see. Okay, so he went. All right, I assume he went over that with you then. It's good. Yeah, and what I like about that move, for those of you wondering, just so you're not in the dark, see if I do it clearly here, but from that bottom half position, instead of just trying to come up on a tight waist and like get up to an elbow, and work from there, where guys like Danny often darce me or counter me one way or the other, I get up to that elbow, my ear to the chest, I get the tight waist, but then I sacrifice back down and I pull, I try to pull Andrew here over me, so his hips go over me, and then I could ideally come out the back, but there are plenty of other options from there. But that's what we're talking about here. I forgot. I think I was gonna say something about that, but whatever. I'm just glad you guys are going over it. The idea of pulling them over you is what will disrupt that Darce attempt, because most guys aren't going to want to face plant, so they have to remove their arm, base out. Basing out opens up their back, so you could come out that way. It's a nice little addition to a problem I've been having for a while.
There's Mitchell going for the. He got into cross achi.
Let's see this.
Big reap. Switched legs.
From standing guard break, excellent.
Awesome.
Almost unknowingly, I think, because we've never gone over it. Almost sitting into like a Z lock, like real heavy reap there for a second, which I'm glad Pat adjusted. And bam, getting the knee bar. Almost. Looks like Pat just about slips his. Yeah, he slips his knee.
Yep, got it. But Mitchell gets right back up on top. Starts fighting for top position. That's good. Awesome.
Cole getting armbarred again. So embarrassing. Pat regarding against Mitchell. All right, Mitchell opting to stand. Cool, good round. Yeah, I'm bummed I didn't roll with you that night, James.
Yeah, he was on fire that night.
I would have mandible strangled him, hurt his neck all over again. Just for fun. Look, another step around armbar. These kids love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny too, because you roll with both of them back to back, and you could, even though they're like, you know, playfully at each other's throats all the time, you could tell they kind of are developing their own styles. Where like,
Oh, totally.
I think
Almost completely different.
yeah. One of them really prefers arm bars, and the other spent a lot more time going after the back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last thing we want to do is re-injure your neck right before your trip. I mean, the trip aside, definitely don't want to do that. And I say that having just like earlier that evening shoulder crunched Mike's shoulder. Oh yeah, so I don't think Mitchell had done like running the pipe before on a single leg.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm coaching him through it now. He gets his head inside. You know, I get the downward chest pressure into my thigh. He hits the turn, gets the takedown, and then he holds onto the leg. And rather than climbing up the body to like go to side control, he comes right over it. I was like, oh shit. All right.
Yeah.
Love to see it. But yeah, I think my only criticism for Mitchell that round, still just pacing, like breathing, you know, minimizing the deep, heavy breaths. That's still one of those early white belt things that you have to like just get used to. But we take that for granted a little bit. I think Brandon had a quick guillotine on Andrew there. See how that got set up. So up at the top, I think Andrew takes a shot, and
hit on the inside.
Yeah, I didn't immediately see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, so I like what Brandon did here, right? Like, so he's using his right arm as a wedge behind the shoulder, or in front of the left shoulder, and then immediately starting to sprawl heavy on Andrew's back here.
Yeah. Squares back up with him, and that's where it went wrong.
Yeah.
Because now Andrew's head is on the outside. It's just not on the outside of, you know, the side with the leg that he captured. It's now on the right side.
That's I mean, honestly, that's one of my problems with, you know, like, I know it's good to, you know, teach head inside for shots and for single legs and double legs and all of that stuff. But like, if he had the head on the outside, you know, like on his right side, Brandon's left side, he'd be able to start turning the corner and running Brandon down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he might have gotten the guillotine sunk up, you know, but he could have jumped to the other side, and kind of, you have ways to mitigate that threat.
Yeah, I feel like in jiu-jitsu, that's one of those white belt rules that you later break when you're comfortable with it. Like, shooting single legs and having your head on the outside isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, you just need good front headlock defense, guillotine defense. You can absolutely get away with it and use it to like bait things. Like, I think over the last few months I've preached that Udi Gaethje, it's called, that like we've seen Tonin use in some of his matches, where you put yourself in a guillotine essentially and then use it against them as you kind of perform a move akin to a sit out, and it gets them into a position similar to a Kimura, and they have to like address it. So yeah, shooting head outside isn't bad. Just as you guys are starting out, that's why we always stress head on the inside, so you don't get caught in easy guillotines. But Brandon set something up that wasn't an easy guillotine, so I guess that's why we're still talking about it. James got a quick hook in and immediately went upstairs to bug your neck.
Did, and then he threatened so hard with it that I had to give up the mount. Right,
Hmm.
I was hoping I was going to catch into a half guard, but he wasn't going to have it. He stepped straight over into a mount.
We'll look
And
at
it's
the
a long hook with his left leg here.
yeah. Give the Twins some credit here for their some of their armbar escaping. See, I think they've done this a few times now, but just really good awareness as far as like getting to an angle where they're getting themselves out of danger. And look at even working a double under pass out here. If he can hike his brother's hips up and get the legs out and around, but his brother's doing a really good job keeping the legs in. He keeps those legs in and keeps heavy on the shoulders, like putting all his weight through his brother's shoulders.
Yeah, James was trying to smother choke me right there behind Kurt.
You and me both, dude. I don't think I have smother choked anybody here. I do like Luke, and if it's not working, I just try to jam your nose shut with my my sternum.
Implants are pretty cheap these days.
There's one thing I think I missed it. I'm gonna try to find it with Mitch. Something I did. Maybe it was right here. Yeah. Okay. So, another move that just comes up from time to time. It's gonna be hard to see. But I think this is one of those side control escapes that sometimes gets forgotten as well. Right now, Mitchell has me in side control, chest to chest, but both of his arms are across my body, and you may find yourself in that position if someone is doing like a reverse underhook. So in this case, think of Mitchell's left arm, the one closer to the TV, going under, his elbow up in my armpit, his right arm maybe down by my hips, pinning my hips into place. He could also have his left elbow by my head, pulling my head in closer to his knee for a different setup. Opportunities like that give you, or rather positions like that give you the opportunity to hit a very simple shoulder push. You just take a nice little V frame right here into the armpit, their thumb in the armpit, your forefingers on the back of their shoulder, and you do everything you can to stiff arm and sit up. And Mitchell is significantly bigger than me, but it shouldn't matter when you do it at the right time. So you could see here I've gotten Mitchell off balance. I continue to sit up. With my free hand, the one that isn't posting, I just kind of do a backstroke to get to my elbow, which for those of you who have trouble getting up to your elbow or your hand when you're in half guard, last week and this week, oftentimes just thinking of a backstroke and then sliding up to your elbow is enough to get you there. Should make that move a little bit easier on you. But anyway, I hit my backstroke. I have my arm pushing out straight, and I just start to sit up, and I can take top position really easily. It's a great way to get somebody off balance that doesn't involve any big explosive movements. And I'd love to see you guys looking for that more, especially next week when we start our side control lessons. So keep that one in mind. It will help you in some pretty sticky situations. Let's go on to the next round. Oh, you and me. I'm trying so hard to get my knee in between your side guard. I think we got Josh and Pat up at the top too.
You'll see me trying this. It's kind of like setting up a false read, but I've been seeing a lot of people play this to prevent the knee cut. Is grabbing the back of the ankle or even the sole of the foot of the leg that gets trapped in half guard. So I'm constantly trying to, like, in this particular way, I don't really have any wrestle up abilities with my shoulder being the way that it was. So I'm trying to stifle your leg movement here, and I'm trying to figure out how people are doing it. But yeah, so I'm kind of going back and forth between your legs. Either I can shoot into a deep half right onto your left leg, or you'll see me reach for your right ankle / sole of your foot.
Okay.
Try capture it.
Like right there.
And I even felt you like stop, like when, I don't know if you even noticed, but it was just kind of like as soon as I had it and I was pinning it to my butt, it was tough for you to step. And
yeah.
So I was like, this is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that foot was completely locked in place. I mean, I obviously can't pick it up. I can't move it forward because your butt's there. I can't move it backward because of your hand. That, I mean, yeah, I did exactly that. Like, as soon as you made that grip, you see it, my movement does in fact just kind of like halt until I figure out what to do, which I believe I eventually just reached down to try to clear the grip.
You did. Yep, exactly. You were just like, nope, I'm going to take that off. And I'm like, well, shit, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I didn't really have a plan B. I was just like, hey, let me see if we can implement something.
Yeah, totally. James working from that collar tie, wrist grip. Okay, George just sitting.
On the neck. So you kept breaking me down in turtle. That was the first time I had really felt you doing that to me, at least. I know you do it to other people, but
yeah, I hit that crack down on your hip right there.
Yep. Yeah, no, that was super solid. I hadn't felt that from you before, but I mean I love that particular movement. It's just a deep tight waist, and you just throw your shoulder into the hip like a shoulder check on the hip.
Yeah.
And flops me right over.
Do it in slow motion. So as soon as your hips come up, I just throw them back down and then go around the back. Yeah, that's straight out of wrestling. Like there's nothing really special there. I would say the key is the deep grip on the waist. You know, you're not just using your hand and pulling it across. You're throwing your shoulders into it too. But once you have that connection, it's very effective. And my primary concern here was as I was coming over top, your hand immediately found my knee, and I had a feeling you were trying to get this leg in, which we've talked about a lot lately on the stream. So I was doing my best to hide as much as I could, and I think I step off here just to avoid the leg entry. Like I just go back to side control instead when I realize I can't get the back or can't get to mount.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly, you could see that's exactly what I was trying to do, was trying to pummel that top leg in so that I can off balance and get into an ashi.
So Jordan, I don't know if you were doing this purposefully or what, but you hit what we refer to as the forward shift, which is a great little technique when someone's working this like body lock position on you here. Or pseudo body lock. James doesn't have his arms locked up here, but watch your shins. Let's see, you can make this a little bit more powerful, but you extend James's weight away from you, like down in the direction your spine's going, down towards your feet, and you sit up. And that's a great spot to open up for, let's say, front headlocks, you know, guillotines, depending on what they do with their arms. You know, you could sink in some shallow underhooks, try to work shoulder crunches, all sorts of stuff. But it's a great little mini technique to help get you out of some bad situations like those body lock positions, assuming they are not just like super deeply set in by then.
Yeah, that was really nice. And James, with this cross shoulder post that he kind of has on you, or at least his arm that's drifting across your side, you have the makings of a Darce. Just FYI. I don't know if you see that now, or if you saw it then and maybe weren't confident in shooting for it. But can you go back to where Jordan had his arm? So he's near, and then he starts going for this cross shoulder post, right? So then you're gonna start sitting back a little bit, I believe. Here soon. Oh no, it was before
further
this.
back.
Yeah, sorry. Right here.
Mm.
So right here, Jordan's he's doing good. You know, Jordan, you're doing great keeping your frames. You have to be very aware that going for a cross shoulder post at this angle is, you know, there's a triangle in between your body line and your arm, and then James's arm here. James, if you shoot your right arm through and grab the back of Jordan's neck, then you have a Darce. And so it was didn't look for it because of the knee shield. Yeah, so the knee shield is okay. You can actually hip check his knee shield and shoot in super deep with it. If you want to learn it, I would go and work with Danny, because Danny hits these all day. And then Jordan, just for you, for your efficacy, when you're in that side position, right, your right hip is down and somebody's trying to pass on your strong side, I would advise going for a near side shoulder post rather than a cross side shoulder post. I know it sounds like it's, you know, like a fine detail, but I promise it'll save your neck.
So you're saying with his bottom arm, his right arm in this case, frame the shoulders out. I'm gonna hide you for a second.
No,
but
the left. So his left arm, instead of going to the left shoulder of James, go to the right shoulder of James.
Gotcha.
And then use his right arm to post up and be strong, like what we went over in class, to be either up on the elbow or up on your hand, so you can be in a very athletic position.
Okay. So posting here instead.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh, you were hiding the action. There we go.
And Jordan, if you have any questions about it, and if you're there on Thursday, we can talk about it more then.
If I remember correctly, this was like an unusually controlling close guard you had on me. And then right here, you had my elbow trapped, and I knew I was in some trouble.
I was really hoping I could start working. You'll see me like using my legs to crawl up your body a little bit, but you can, I mean, so, and then for those in the chat and watching and stuff, you know, Matt's normally able to, you know, stand up straight and work the standing guard, the guard break. Notice how heavy I am on his head, to where he's not going to go for it, right? He knows that if he stands up in that position, that I'll be able to throw things up. So I'm trying to stay very, very heavy on the head, and I'm hoping that I can start shoving your arms through to either look for triangles or arm bars. But
yeah,
to no avail. You weren't going to give me any of it.
Well, like what kept me from doing what I normally like to do here, like you alluded to, the head pressure, but also the connection of your bicep to my ear. Like I I couldn't get your shoulder and your bicep. I couldn't sneak to the inside bicep tie that you need to clear off that posture control. And you see, I even start to go to a secondary gripping style that I don't typically employ, but the V grips in the armpits. It's like, you know, there I get it for a second, but I lose it, and now you can see I've gone to the V grip up in the armpit to try to get some space. And I you know, in an attempt I stood up, but like this is not where you want to try to hit a standing guard break.
Yep. Yeah, and again, anyone who's watching, right? This is a battle for inside position. This is purely what you can break this down fundamentally as is Matt is trying to keep his hands on the inside of my bicep, like inside of my armpits, inside of my hands, right? And win the inside position with the arms. I'm trying to do the same thing. So I am trying to snatch the head, but I'm trying to keep him broken down so that I can start fishing under and getting underhooks on his arms to either, again, go for arm bars, triangles, shoulder crunches, and winning types of positions.
Yeah, for any new folks who keep hearing us say inside position, you know, all these different ways, mentioning all, you know, in reference to every single limb, think about like you talk about defensive positions being ones where your limbs are really, really tight. If you're 100% defensive, your arms are in tight, your knees are pulled to your chest, you know, no one can separate your limbs from your body, and you're not going to get subbed that way. So in order for me to, as the attacker on offense, in order for me to start opening up opportunities, I need to get inside of your limbs. So that's why, you know, we talk about inside position for passing. You know, it's to get your legs into a spot where we can either attack the legs with you know, straight up leg attacks, or get them away from you know, break your knee elbow connection, which would be a tighter connection for you to have that would impede my ability to submit you. Getting inside position, like Mike was just saying, to do my standing guard break, I need to get your arms away from here where you're holding my head to out here where you can't control my posture. Inside position is just a way to get a limb away from the body. And like I gave every single one of you white belts on your, you know, first or second day of class, the spiel about the 5 steps of a jiu-jitsu match, isolating a limb, step number 4, is a crucial one. And that's done when you win inside position. So that's why you're gonna, just for as long as you're training, you're gonna hear us talking about it. But that's the idea behind it. That's why it's important. And then now I think Kale gets his match with me. Got Cole and outside Ashi on you.
Yeah, he immediately shot in.
Did you guys start down?
No, started up.
Oh, okay.
Went into his guard, and he saw Ashi, and he went straight for it. Elevated.
Reaped.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if he was working something specific, but with that reap, Cole, I would continue driving your knees this way. You instead opt to bring your left leg out, which kind of goes opposite to what it goes opposite to what you're doing with your right leg. Like you'd see here, now you're just kind of taking Mike back the other way. But in this transition, I hope you can see your right leg is doing some really good work in getting heel exposure. And if that right leg continued to work and you got Mike to continue turning this way, you have the opportunity to attack the heel hook. When you take it in the other direction, I think we talked about this last stream, when you take it in the other direction, you typically give yourself an opportunity for a sweep. I would prefer a submission over a sweep, personally. They're both great options, but keep that in mind next time you're working that standard Ashigarami and you decide to reap. Maybe commit to that reap a little bit more with the upper belt, of course. And see what that does for you for heel hooks. What do you think?
Yeah.
Because you guys were talking about some stuff, I'm sure. either before or
Yeah,
after
so
this?
we were going over like my philosophy on the, going for the straight ankle grip before going to the heel hook, just because it's a more controlling grip unless you're just planning on ripping the heel hook. So that's what he's focusing on. He was asking me questions on that, and then we're working on the finish.
Gotcha. And then Kale, I believe, with the triangle armbar finish. Nice. Cole trying to hit the same, almost the exact same sweep he had on Andrew earlier.
Yeah, so he really compromised. So he was able to reach all the way over and grab my chin here. And I wasn't gonna have that. Like I was like, you know what? If you want it so bad, take it.
Yeah, and then I think he realized here, he's like, well, I'm not gonna get the roll,
Yep.
but I can come out on top.
Yep.
It's a good adjustment from him. And Cole, if you want to get a little funky here with a leg lock, keep in mind, like, I know you love to work mount. We are getting better at defending your mount just because we have to. So as you start to run into this more and more, when someone traps your ankle like this, now that you're starting to work on legs a lot, you can use this to your advantage. Where, let's say you just can't seem to get that ankle free, you can't get back to mount. What you can do is heist your hips up, give yourself a little bit of space, and take your knee of your, the leg corresponding to your trapped foot, so in this case your left knee, cross it over the body to Mike's left side. And then it's going to be hard to picture if you're not familiar with it, but you can then backstep into cross ashigarami from there. So you can go from a lost mount position right into a very, very controlling, dangerous leg lock position.
So yet again, I find myself in this bear hug from, yeah, it was, you're right though, like, we kind of wrote it off, and it can be a very strong position.
Yeah, I feel like if he elevates, if he bridges from there, he gets what he needs to finish the submission, Like, he can plant your head to the mat, similar to that, like, that Keisugatame reversal, where you reach up, you bear hug, and then you just bridge and put their head on the mat, and then they're basically weightless. Andrew almost in on a double, I think. I don't think he could get James's far leg. That's why it didn't work.
Wonder if you could tell which arm was my bad arm.
I didn't see. Oh, like, yep, go ahead, go.
I just put ragdoll. I was like, yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, we know. We've been
And
fighting
he
with
doesn't
it for a
like
while
being put
now,
on his back
Andrew.
either.
What was that?
He doesn't like being put on his back either. He doesn't like staying down.
Yeah. Yeah, if like that's the thing. If you manage to like pass James's guard, you have to be extremely tight with your movement. You know, whether you're going from like side control to mount or to north south or to knee on belly. Like when you give James any space where he can get his frames in, you know, his arms in to frame, it's going to be very difficult to shake the space that he will continue to create from there. So you have to be like, you have to be really conscious of how much space you're making with him.
It is, James. It's a lot of work. Fighting off your back compared to just standing up.
It's that Derek Lewis mentality. I mean, Ronnie. So, fold this into the overtie stuff. But I did this twice with Ronnie. So I hit a collar tie, you know, bug in the feet, whatever. She collar ties me. I overtie, and then as she hits this reverse collar tie on me, right? That
Yep.
hand coming across the far side. I use my right hand here. I'm trying to do it slowly. I use my right hand to post underneath her tricep and then swing right around, almost like what you get out of a slide by.
Yeah.
But just a quick little exchange of collar ties here. Set that whole thing up. So there's the over tie, there's her reverse collar tie, and then post on the elbow, cut the angle around, and then you get behind her. And then I hit the little knee block, break her down to 4 points.
That was a nice sequence.
Yeah, we do it again too at the when we start standing later. But you know, you're gonna do that when they hit that reverse collar tie on you, which they're not necessarily using that to like break your posture down. I mean, they can, I suppose they can. Really, they might do that to create space, push you away. You're on that Russian tie, so they want to like push you down the arm and get you away. I think I wing sweeper here. Yeah.
That's just a fun sweep to do and watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. So this is just me getting her loaded up onto my knee, whether she puts herself there or not. I have both knees pointed in the same direction, which we typically think of as a bad idea for ourselves. Great for them. It's a guard pass. But if they haven't gotten behind your legs and they don't have a base, which Ronnie doesn't, she what's her left arm doing here? I think it's just behind my back.
It's a tight waist.
Yeah.
Tight waist.
Yeah, so I could tell she didn't have a base. She was loaded up. So with her driving forward into me, I can start to use that to my advantage and take her over.
And also keep in mind you have a cross ashi entrance from there too, right? All you have to do is back step and you have a cross ashi for anyone who is looking at it in the chat or online.
And then I think I just get a Kimura here. Maybe? I don't remember what I did. I thought I finished that.
Looks
Oh,
like he's arms.
yeah, yeah. I had to switch arms here. So Ronnie starts burying her hand very, very tightly down between her knees. And I want you guys to remember, you can't, of course, you can't grab single digits or even 2 or 3 at a time, but you can grab the knuckle line. And that's what I do when people hide their hands down between their legs on these dorsal Kimura positions. You know, whether they're gripping their clothes or their own wrist or whatever, I grip around the knuckle line to break that grip. So keep that in mind if you're having trouble just trying to rip the arm out. It's going to be a difficult thing to do, but disrupt the grip, it'll be a little bit easier. So then, yeah, we'll see the same sort of sequence. Collar tie, foot sweep. She collar ties me. I reverse collar tie her here in a second. Exact same thing. It was super fast, but as it happened, I could tell. I was like, oh, we're just doing the same moves again. So I collar tie, over tie, all that same stuff.
Happens to the best of us, Veronica.
Trying to hit the leg weave. Doing a good job breaking down my knee shield here. And what I'm doing is denying, since she's breaking my knee shield down, I'm trying to deny her connection to my head, right? I don't want her to be able to reach up and grab my head to start working her pass. She shuts down my... We talked a little bit about that afterwards, how she feels pretty comfortable even when I'm trying to hit that power half on her. She shuts it down. And I think a big reason why is I don't get my... Like, I can't get her head to bend in at an angle, which is when I just start to look for other ways to break down from turtle if that one doesn't work quickly enough. But yeah, anyway. Good stuff. As always. Like that shitty... Whatever. Make me. So, let's see. It's Wednesday. Tomorrow, we got gi class with Coach Luke. Luke's back in town, right? I assume.
Yep.
I don't know.
As far as I know.
So yeah, make sure you guys get to that. Let's see. Also, first day of December. I know we have. I think there's a Naga, if I remember correctly, a Naga in January in Greensboro. So if you guys are interested, now's the time to start thinking about that. Talking to your coaches. You know, we'll get you guys ready for competition, whether it's your first or your 50th, doesn't matter. We can get everybody set to go for that. Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. What else? Anything else? New business? Nothing? Cool.
Class. We'll be there tomorrow.
Right on. Yeah, thanks again for our new followers. Kurt, I see you. And Swanky Bigfoot, we appreciate the support. Follow us here if you're not. Subscribe here if you can. Hey there, bud. Chiming in at the last minute. You can support us also at coffee.com/MOBJJ. Subscribe over on YouTube. I'll upload this video there for you guys to review at your leisure. What else? Anything else? I don't know. In any case, trim your nails and do your laundry and don't be stinky. And yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you back at class. Take it easy.
Later.